Today I'm honored to have a conversation with a teacher whose words and presence carry true depth of Vedic tradition and are at the same time so relatable and meet people right where they are in their daily lives. His name is Sriman Prahlad Nrsimha Adhikari. He is a Vaishnava Brahmin within the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, a world-recognized Vedic astrologer, and a professor of classical Indian philosophy, as well as a spiritual leader for practitioners all over the world. In this conversation, we explore the path of Bhakti, the yoga of devotion, and how it can be lived in a grounded and contemporary way. Welcome, everyone, and thank you very much for being here with us today. It's a real honor for me to sit here with Sriman Prahlad Nrsimha Adhikari and explore the path of Bhakti, the yoga of devotion. Welcome, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good evening to all the different people who's gonna perceive this conversation. It's a conversation about Atma Tattva, the self, and the connection with the Supreme. Very glad to have you all here.
Prabhu, many people who will be listening to this podcast, they just live their normal lives. They have kids, they have jobs, they have normal health struggles. And I would love for us to begin this conversation with a question that meets them where they are. How would you describe Bhakti Yoga to them in a way that meets them there in their daily life without asking them to be anywhere else?
Well, I think nothing is normal. What we call normal life is complicated by itself and is a constant movement of time. Sometimes we live in the past with lamentations of things that we did in the past, and we are hankering for things in the future, and like this we'll miss life that is happening right now. So it's something that we all can do, is to experience every second we are life. We are consciousness. Life never goes away from us. Meanwhile, this body exists, then we measure time, because this body is like a dress. The Bhagavad Gita says, Basamsi jiranani jatabi haya, navani grinati naro parani. The same way that one puts new clothes when the old ones get rotten and broken apart, the same, the soul, the jiva, who is consciousness and life, takes a new body at the time of what we call death. So we are constantly moving in time because we are subjected for this material creation, but we are not part of this combination of material elements. So that's why it's not normal that we are here, because we want to be eternal. We are fighting against old age, disease. We don't want death. Even the ant is going against it. All living entities, the tree, it's like now there's no leaves in the trees. But the trees are going to sustain the whole winter to bring back their life again in summer. So it's not normal. This struggle for existence is not normal. It's like the son of a rich man who suddenly has some amnesia and is walking in the streets without a house, picking up food here and there, begging. It's not normal. This is not his correct experience. If someone knows him, said, hey, you are the son of such a rich man. Why are you in the street? Follow me. Let's go back to your state. Let's go back to your mansion. Let's go back to your father. So that's what the jiva, or the living entity in this world, is not in a normal condition. So even though we are going on with our families and our daily activities, sometimes monotonous activities, going to school or college or work, doing our household chores, looks normal, but in reality inside is a whole world of desires, to looking for these three things. Basically knowledge, always asking questions about what is this, always trying to investigate where we are, why we are here. Or in our daily life, we constantly want to know about the life of others, celebrities, etc. So the hankering of knowledge is constant. Also, we want eternity, like I mentioned. It's not natural to die. That's why everybody's fighting against it. Nobody likes it. And at the same time, we want to be happy. Constantly, we want to experience happiness and pleasure. So these are the three qualities of the soul: Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat, the soul is eternal. Chit is always full of knowledge or aware. And Ananda is full of bliss. Ananda Vayo Vyasat. The living entity is constantly looking for happiness. But in this world, you get duality, happiness and distress, winning and losing. So because here is the word of duality, you can never experience a stream of light or a stream of happiness or a stream of... Everything is marked by this duality. So that's why what we call normal in reality, we don't feel like it's the way it's supposed to be. So how to connect with our original place, how to go back home in a sense, how to navigate in this puzzle, this nightmare, which is this material creation. We don't know what is north, what is south, what is the exit. The word exit comes from exiting this world. So when we said, oh, this person is successful, it's because has found the exit. But we combine success with material profit, fame and wealth, but this is going to be taken out in very few moments. So this is not, we have not gained anything. So Bhakti Yoga is essential for all living entities who are searching for happiness, who are searching for the eternal life. The proof is that we are constant, even though the body has changed. The Bhagavad Gita again, in the second chapter, Krishna explains that Dehino esmin jata dehe, kaumaran yauvanam jara. The living entity is passing from childhood to youth to old age. The same way, at the time of death, the soul will continue having another life. We see these changes. There are different bodies. This body that I have now is not the same one that I have yesterday. No, the same one that I have 7 years ago. So we have passed through different clothes, but we are the same person. Everybody recognizes us as the same. Our mother, who maybe saw us only when we were children, even if you appear 40 years after, sees the same person, even though the body is different. There is something that is constant, even though the changes of molecules and atoms. So even though this world, everything is constantly changing, the constant thing is the soul. So there is such a nature which is called Parashakti, or we can call it Paravyoma, many nomenclature descriptions of this other nature. And when we talk about nature, it means mountains, rivers, nature, people, relationships. There is a different kind of nature made with different elements. Sat, Chit, and Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. They're all living entities, have their permanent relationships, and they are not covered by time. So old age, disease, death, it doesn't exist there because it's made out of a different energy. Here, these 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether or sound, they are constantly in a move. These 5 elements make this table, make this wall, make this body, but they're in a constant flow. So you cannot stop the movement of matter. But I am the same person experiencing this normal life. So for any person who is in this world and has a human form of life, has a higher capacity to comprehend our existence. So this in Sanskrit, It's called Atma Tattva. Tattva means truth, and Atma is the self. So the purpose of this higher intelligence, logic, analogy, reasoning, is to be able to understand this truth. The other living entities in the form of animals or plants, they don't have this higher consciousness. Even though the soul is in there, they don't have this developed consciousness. The same way, if I cover my eyes, I cannot see even though I have eyes inside. So with the different layers of consciousness, give us more or less perception. In the animal form, we live for eating, sleeping, procreation, and struggle for existence. Eating, sleeping, sex, and work. We also, you see, in the morning, all the cars move, the people move the streets for eating, for sleeping, for work, or in the night for sex, or any time. But these are the four activities that we share with other living entities. But the humans, they have a fifth activity. Humano or human means mana is superior mind, human, superior mind. So because we have a superior mind, we have higher conscience to comprehend these truths. And by able to comprehend these truths, we are able to escape this labyrinth of material existence. So any person in any situation can be a person who don't know write and read, who is peacefully tender some cows somewhere, or a person who is highly educated. Both they need to escape from this cycle. Bhakti yoga is the process of connection again with the Supreme. Bhakti basically means devotion. Love who has not a particular interest because for fame or for name or for wealth or for profit. No, it's unmotivated, causeless, just because this nature of being grateful with someone who's taking care of you. So Krishna is one of the names of God out of the millions and millions of the name of God, because describes his qualities. He has unlimited qualities. One of his names, for example, is Purushottama, the Uttama, the highest Purusa, the highest person. Other name is Achyuta, infallible, no faults. Another name is Keshava, the one who has very beautiful bluish hair. So we can think how the Supreme or God can have hair. It's because we are competing, or you can say comparing with our body. Our body is not the same as the transcendental bodies of the spiritual people. That's why in the Bible and also in the Quran, what to speak in the Vedas, explain that we are made of image and likeness of the Supreme. Everything, there is no one thing here that I can show you that has no purpose of creation or design. Nothing. The wall, the table, the ceiling, this computer. You have eyes. For the eyes to have a purpose, has to be a sun, has to be a source of light. Without the sun and the eyes, what is the purpose of each one? If you don't have eyes, you don't understand the sun is there and the colors and the variety. So both of them, they have been created, they have been designed. So the concept of creator is just what you observe around you. How is possible that suddenly the so-called Western educators, first they go around the world stealing the property of everyone, planting flags saying this is mine and exploiting the people from everywhere. And then they come back and they create a theory. Oh, and now we're going to tell you there is no God. How this is possible when you see such a perfection, this machine that you see outside, this material creation, how the sun, the planets, everything is maintaining his perfect rotation, day and night, etc., for millions of years. How is possible? Oh, this has no creation, has no. It's because my intelligence is limited when we think that someone can create something higher than us. We put a Sputnik in orbit. We put satellites in orbit. And this is our human intelligence. But when we see planets flowing around, then you know, but this has no creator. There's no higher intelligence than me. When you remove the one, then the rest is zeros. So it doesn't matter how many zeros there has, 0 for 0 is 0. Only when the one is in front, the number has some value, 10, 100, 1,000, millions. So if you remove God from the equation, and you're trying to, with your intelligence, which is minute, trying to understand the unlimited, then, people get confused. This is called, in Sanskrit, is already explained. People have done this before. This is the ascending process of trying to obtain knowledge. So it's with the mind, you make conjectures, you make speculations and opinions. It's like if you see me, but you don't know me. I think he is Indian. I think he's Persian. I think he's South American. I think he's Mexican. I think they can think and think and think. They're never going to find out where exactly I come from unless they ask me. Why so difficult to ask? But if people want to find out by themselves, I think he's 60, I think he's 70, I think that process is a waste of time. So the Vedic process is a descending process. You receive from authorities, you receive from Vedic authorities the knowledge that has been passing down from guru to disciple since time immemorial. If you want to know about who is your father, you ask your mother, she knows. So he will explain. So the Vedas or the Vedic scriptures are like the mother. We have these scriptures since time immemorial, have been written from 5,000 years ago, but before they were maintained by sound, because people have enough memory to memorize all this without having to write it down. So write it down as 5,000 years ago, and then the Vedas explain very clearly, if you want to understand God, you have to understand these three things. Brahman, the unlimited living entities who are like fractions or sparks of the Supreme. Paramatma, the localized aspect of God. And Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead. So when you want to understand these dual systems, what called God, you have to understand these three things. If you don't understand this, you will not understand it completely. You will understand just for facets. So the first understanding is only impersonal. It's very difficult to understand that God has a personality too. So we're trying to make it impersonal. Quantum, the universe. Thank to the universe. I'm very thankful to the universe. It's like you enter in a house, someone serves you a wonderful feast, treat you very nicely, and then say, I want to thank the house. The house has been very kind to me. The table has been so wonderful. And you don't get personal with the people who serve you. That's kind of, bananas, little cuckoo. Or basically, not educated enough. Basically, unpolite. So you're receiving so many things, but you're trying to thank the universe. I'm thankful to the universe. Yeah, that's the house. That's the creation. But who is behind it? It's like sometimes, I remember when I was in college, one gentleman who was teaching science, he said, there was a primordial soup, and from this primordial soup of elements, everything come along. They go, well, whoever made the soup is a very good chef. So no, there's no chef. But you said there's a soup of ingredients. Who put the ingredients? So no, there was a soup. But where the soup come from? Where these elements come from? There is an original source of everything. So this is normal questions for people who have a human form of life. And that's why Bhakti is so important. Otherwise, we are so disconnected that we fall so much in ignorance that we forget that we have a Supreme Father. It's like here in the Russia, I am here in Siberia. So a few decades ago, here in Russia, they make experiment, what is called communism, to be all brothers and sisters. but they eliminate the father. How we can have a common brothers community, communism, have a common ancestry without a father? How you can eliminate God and to be all brothers and sisters? To be brothers and sisters, you have to have the same father. And that's why I fail. So it's natural for the living entity when it comes to the human form of life to try to understand God. And this is called Atma Tattva. And the way to relate with God is not by defying his existence. Sometimes we get very much lost in ignorance and we lost his relationship with the Father. So Bhakti Yoga is basically the method of reconnecting with him in a natural way, because we have a loving relationship that is eternal. We can pretend to be independent, but actually we are depending of this nature. We can say, I am independent, I'm not going to follow old age. I'm not going to die. I decided that I'm not going to die. No, you are subjected to the laws of nature, wanted or not. So you surrender to understand who is the source and what is the exit from this world, or you have to be in this cycle, this recycle of reincarnation. This Jiva soul who is eternal, we don't want to go back to the spiritual world. We'll remain in this material world, accepting one body after another. Because you cannot relate to this matter unless you have a body, to be able to taste it, to be able to smell it, to be able to see it, to be able to hear it. You need a material body. You cannot stay here without a body. And because we perform actions, we have reactions. So these actions and reactions creates our new body, our new material body. This is called karma. Kar, actions, ma, my actions, my reactions. This makes sense, Maria?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this saying that the God didn't just create the world and left. He's constantly creating it. He's constantly here. He's constantly around, even though we use the personal pronoun, but you know what I'm talking about. It's everything is creation. Everything is a supreme intelligence.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, surrendering to this higher intelligence, to supreme intelligence, is a key to any spiritual practice. But there is this sense of losing control. Could you elaborate on this idea a little bit, please?
First, we never had the control, looks like. That's called ahankara, or false ego. Aham, I am, kara, the doer. Ahankara, I am the controller. If I am the controller, like I said, why you just don't stop old age? This idea of control is because of this ahankara, false ego. Ishvara means controller. Ishvara Parama, Krishna, that's what the Veda said. The supreme controller, Ishvara Parama, Krishna. Satchidananda Vigraha. He has an eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Anadir Adir, he is the beginner of the beginning. Anadir Adir Govinda. Sarva Karana Karanam, and is the cause of all causes. So this supreme Ishvara puts many others in the material world as controllers, what we call demigods. So you have Brahma, Shiva, Varuna, you have so many different Surya, Chandra, demigods, who are given power to control certain areas. It's like someone can be the CEO of a company. Someone can be, the minister of electricity and mines. So, but he don't create electricity, he don't create the mines, but he is giving certain kind of control. So when we enter into this material world, we want to be the Ishvara, we want to be the controller. So Krishna very kindly give us a position in different parts of this universe. There's different planetary systems, and we take birth according to our karma in different places. And always we want to control. Somehow we want to the remote control, even if it's just the remote control. I'm controlling what I'm seeing, but actually then after, why you don't leave the television? Why you are just keep surfing in your phone? Even though it's nothing there, now you are controlled by the phone? We become completely controlled by anything, even as something as simple as a small screen. and we think that we are the controllers. So how we can lose control if we really never had it? This nature is in control of us. This nature has three modes, what is called gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva, the mode of goodness; rajas, the mode of passion; and tamas, the mode of ignorance. So we are fluctuating like yo-yos in these three modes. Sometimes we are peaceful. Oh, it's early morning. So nice. I'm going to do some pranayama. Little bit of goodness. Then suddenly you stomp your foot in the table. Start cursing everybody, hitting the table. And then you go into, ignorance. I'm not going to go to work. My toe is so painful. I just want to quit working today. Ignorance means not doing nothing. It's so easy. I divorced. It's not working for me. It's no more pleasure. Mode of passion. No more pleasure. So break it. Let's look for something else. So who's controlling? It's controlling. The three modes are controlling us. It's like the tongue controls so many people. They need to feel the taste of the tobacco, or the chocolate, or the cocaine, or whatever they are addicted to, the wine. Why they don't give it up? Because they're controlled by the tongue. People who cannot stop hearing music. One song, now I did another one, now another one. No, I already hear Deep Purple enough. Now I need Black Sabbath. Then not Black Sabbath, maybe Janis Joplin. Maybe just, Rihanna, whatever is going on now. And they just keep hearing. And the other people is cashing. For every 3 minutes, they make so much money. It's all a business. Why? Because the people is addicted. Why they're addicted? Because they're not in control. Nobody is in control. What we think is control is what is our quota. Everybody has a quota. Like you have your apartment, you have your home. You think this is my home. No, this is has been given according to your karma. According to your actions and reactions of past life, you get a body with certain beauty, level of beauty, with a level of fame, with a level of wealth, with a level of health, with a level of fame, a level of generosity. Everybody gets these actions and reactions. But they think, oh, I did this. No, this is just a little reaction, or you can say payment for what you did, good or bad actions. So the idea of losing control is when we really think that we are controlling our life. You can have it for some time, but you cannot really control it because they are not the controllers. We are controlled by our actions and reactions. So the idea is to give up this control to be able to surrender. If you want to surrender to God, if you want to surrender to the Atma Tattva, higher reality, you have to give up this idea of control because it's just an idea.
So there is the difference, I think, is in one thing is thinking that you control things, and another thing, surrendering the control because life is doing its thing, but still being in charge of the things that are in your domain, your speech,
Yeah,
your thoughts,
exactly.
your
But
actions. You can be in charge.
You have to do it in what is called karma yoga. Act as a devotion. Jagya artha karmanyo natra. Every activity, because it's a sacrifice, even waking up, going to school is a sacrifice. So why not to offer it to Vishnu? So jagya artha karmanon, every activity should be surrendered to the Supreme. Krishna said, Jat karosi jadasnasi, whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you offer, whatever charity you make, do it as an offering to me. So by doing this, you get free from the karma because you're doing it in the name of God. So the idea is this karma yoga is to act because I have to act anyhow, but I'm not going to act for my benefit, for my pleasure. I'm going to act for God. I'm going to offer the results to the Supreme. So then you're getting free from the entanglement. So you have to have some faith. This is called in Sanskrit shraddha. Without shraddha, without a little bit of pinch of faith, it's difficult to give up this so-called control. If you have faith that he's going to take care of me, that he has even better knowledge of the past, present, and future of myself, and he is my supreme friend and companion. And he is Achyuta, he will never fail to me. And then you make an experiment of that, you will notice that actually he is right there with you, carrying through your life. Like for example, Krishna says, 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 15th verse. I am situated in everyone's heart. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am situated in everyone's heart. Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. And from me comes smriti, memory, jnanam, intelligence or knowledge, and apohanam, also forgetfulness. I am the compiler of the Vedas. The Vedas is the knowledge to know me. I have to be known through the Vedas. So when we understand it, God is the source of intelligence, memory, etc., we don't look ourselves as the controllers or the doers or the source of it. It's so much easier when you understand that you're under the control. It's like a child. Sometimes the child plays to be the father. But he don't know where he is even. If you put him out in the park, he don't know how to return home. He's completely hopeless. The father takes him to the playground and, give him something to eat, make him play, take care of him that he don't fall, etc. But the child is unaware that the father is controlling. But it's the father who sees what he can do, what he cannot do. He feed him, give him some water. The child is like playing.
It's a great analogy.
The Father is always with us, taking care and helping us, but it depends what we want. He don't push us. He gave us free will. If we want to enjoy all kinds of material desires, He fulfilled these desires for us. He never let us, without fulfilling these material desires. Even the things that we think, wow, it's like if someone wants to get drunk, Krishna gives the intelligence how to make alcohol. All the drugs, marijuana, cocaine, they're in nature. They have been used for medical purposes in the Vedas, opium, etc. When the warriors, they get arms cut, etc. A little bit of opium so that doctor can operate. Losing control is only an idea. You have to gain control of yourself by connecting. It's like a telephone who can live independently. I'm functioning now. I don't need nobody. Don't touch me. No, if the phone stays separated from the person, will never be charged again. He will not know how to function himself. So the moment that we disconnect from the macrocosmos, we disconnect from the source of all love, source of all energy, then we are in our own. And then is what comes the greatest frustrations in life and the most lonely that we can ever felt. That's why no matter the amount of money, the amount of fame, the amount of power, the people feel very lonely. They end up suicidal.
Yeah, true. Prabhu, as someone who has really dedicated his life to spiritual practice, have you ever found yourself in a situation where devotion really helped you, like in a moment where you least expected it? Could you share a story maybe?
From very early life, I saw my mother had so much faith in God. Before the light came, my mother was already praying, fully dressed, and immediately was a little bit of light in the sky. I will hear her high heel shoes going out in the corridor, out the door, and she went to church 6 a.m. And then half an hour after, she will come back with bread, with flowers for the Jesus and Mary, and waking us all up. But she already did her spiritual part, so she was such a sincere devotee. So she always told me from childhood, God is always by your side. You just need to mention His name. He is always guide you. You will never be lost. I was telling her, what if you leave my hand? You walk so fast, even if you don't give me my hand, maybe you forgot that I was with you. I said, no, I'm always aware that you're there. I always taking care of you. Don't worry, and God will never allow that you get lost. So these words came into my consciousness. And when I entered in the school, I was 5 years old. And the first day of school, instead of ending at 12 o'clock, ended a little bit earlier because it was just the first day. And I make a little friend, also 6 years old. And he told me, let's go to my house so we can play with my cars. And somehow or other, I follow him. And I follow him in a road I never been by myself. We went in the street, walking straight. And suddenly we reached his house. He rang the bell. His mother came out, so embraced him and said to me, how you doing, little one? And closed the door. And put his child inside and closed the door to me. She thought that I'm also going to my house. And I was so far away, so lost. And I didn't recognize anything. So I started walking in a direction and panicking inside. I was lost. And the people will come and see me. Sometimes they will ask, little child, are you lost? And I said, no. My pride didn't allow me to say that I was lost. But then I remember my mother and started praying to God, please help me. When I saw the church, I entered into the church and I sit on a bench and I was crying, asking to please bring my mother here. Then I hear some shoes. There was some old lady coming to pray. So I came out of the church and I keep walking in another direction and hoping. I keep praying. And suddenly I arrived to the place, the military place, where my father works. And I looked to the third floor where he used to be there, and he was there, typing, click, 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 click. So I was like, oh my God, this is my father. And I was just waiting, and he looked out of the window. And he looked one moment, he saw me. He opened the window, hey, what? He came down. The soldiers who were there, they were looking at me like, what this little kid is doing. And then he embraced me and said, oh, you came to see me. My father thought that I came to see him. He didn't even thought that I was lost. So wait, I almost finished and we go home. And then he gave me some of these reels from the old typewriters I was playing. And then by his hand, he brought me an ice cream. I reached home and my mother didn't even notice, because my father was supposed to pick me up at 12, but actually I left at 10 and came back to my father. So that moment,
Wow.
the faith in God increased for me so much, even though I was just, almost 6.
Thank you so much for sharing this story. I wanted to ask, I'm sure there must have been times in your life where devotional practice, even though it's about connection, it's about love, sometimes it turns more into should rather than want. So what advice would you give to someone who is on a spiritual path and is doing bhakti yoga, is practicing, is devotional and is cultivating devotional relationship with the divine, but finds it difficult to sustain practice because there is not always a wish to practice. There needs to be a discipline to practice.
Yeah. Vyavasayatmika buddhi means when the mind is focusing only one purpose. Vyavasayatmika is focusing the Atma and the soul. What is the purpose of the soul? To reconnect with the Supreme. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence. Illumination means Buddha. So when Siddhartha became illuminated, they was called Buddha, means intelligent. When the intelligent reach full consciousness, that's called Buddha. But buddhi means intelligence. So vyavasayatmika buddhi, you have to put intelligence in one place. Ekeha kurunandana. Ekeha, one point, only one point of focus. He said the one who have so many different points of focusing, the intelligence is everywhere, it is irresolute. It's not determined because has invested so much in different points. So for someone who is hunkering for the Supreme, has to have one goal, only one, no different goals, because then there is no power to be able to concentrate. So when I started my path, obviously through Christianity, it's a path of love and surrendering. Jesus Christ, who is the Son of God, he came to show this path of surrendering and full faith by his own example. Even the moment that they would capture him, they said, my dear Lord, Make your will and not mind. Whatever is your will, I follow that. He was a person who was surrendered to the will of God, and that's why his example out of passed already more than 2,000 years and the people still can follow. So this path of bhakti is the only path that exists between relationships. The relationship with the father and the mother, children and the mother or the father is all about love. Love is the answer. Bhakti means loving relationship. It's a natural activity that is in the heart. You cannot erase it. You don't have to add a practice. For example, you do hatha yoga, it's just to be limber, to be flexible, so you can sit peacefully without disturbance of the body and connect through the mantra and the names of God, to be able to have this exchange of love. So the hatha, the exercise, is just preliminary. Then you practice the pranayama. By regulating the breathing techniques, the mind becomes peaceful, just like a water where there is no wind, there is no waves, or just like a candle where there is no winds, that is just steady. So when the mind is steady, then you start practicing mantra. So the other ones are temporary. It's not that by doing exercises you reach God. Otherwise, the clouds of circles of Soleil, they would already be there. They can jump everywhere, do all kind of pirouettes, flexibles, etc. That's not the goal. And breathing, just, any kind of instrument they breathe is not God consciousness. This is temporary. It's for the body. The body, the exercises; for the mind, the breathing. It's for the soul, is love. Again, this loving connection with God by the constant repetition of His names. This practice of reestablishing, reconnecting with God. The soul enters into this material creation since time immemorial, going from one body to another. Sometimes we enter through the heavenly planets, taking positions of great controllers and demigods. But slowly, due to our activities, we fall into the lowest conditions of life. And after a lot of suffering, if by the grace of God the devotees of the Lord are there, and you have a little faith, the devotees of the Lord can plant the seed of bhakti again in the heart. Then they reestablish the connection with God and start the practice in the association of devotees. So it's not a silent practice where you are just trying to go by yourself in the Himalayas or something. We are in Kali Yuga, which is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. It's an age where the mind is very disturbed, and all the good qualities of the living entity diminish so fast. So it's better to be in a good group of people practicing together. If you have one bamboo, you can break it easy, but if you have 5 bamboos, you cannot break it. You need association to practice bhakti, together to sing together kirtan, even to study the books together, to get explanations, to make questions. It's like, for example, now, the two of us, you're making some questions, I try to the best of my ability to answer to you. So in this connection, this is called Sravanam, Kirtanam. One is making the questions and listening, and the other one is Kirtanam, is responding through the scriptures. So in this process, we are connected. We both are connected. And if it's more people connect. Today I went to the temple at 4 a.m., did my practice, chant my 16 rounds, 2 hours of mantra, and then I give the lecture in the morning, was around 100 devotees online, etc., plus people in the temple. So the activities are always the same, to talk about Krishna. This is called Krishna Katha. If you don't talk about Krishna, this world have so many topics to hear. You're going to hear about Ronaldo, Messi, or you're going to hear about Verstappen and Formula One, or you're going to hear about fashion, or Trump, or who knows. Go to a library, see how many books are there. How many of them they talk about the relationship with God? Very few. So you have to give some time for association and spiritual practice. Then slowly, all this variety of thoughts, they start becoming very focused like a laser point. Because you understand, I'm going to walk in the path, pilgrim progress. The pilgrims have to make progress together to the goal. And the ultimate goal is Prema Pumarto Maham, to develop again our relationship with God.
You said the word architecture, and I remembered I wrote down in one of my meditation books, reflection books, when I was contemplating the connection of devotion and discipline. And I wrote down that discipline is like an architecture of devotion. You build a house, a foundation, a little temple out of your time and your presence, and you sit and you wait in it patiently with love.
Very well placed.
I wanted to ask you in closing of this conversation, could you offer some advice to someone who feels lost in his or her life, to someone who is depressed or disconnected from their life?
You know, we have different imprints of karma, you know. The imprint of karma is what we call our astrological chart. So we are born in a particular point in time, and then our time starts running. These periods or transits, they have a complete order. Like, for example, if someone is born in the middle of the sun period has only 6 years. After the sun comes the moon period for 10 years. After the moon period comes Mars period for 7 years. After the Mars period comes Rahu for 18 years. After Rahu comes 16 years of Jupiter. After Jupiter, 19 years in Saturn. After Saturn, 17 years in Mercury. Then 7 years in Ketu, 20 years in Venus, and back into the Sun. So this will take at least 120 years. But in Kali Yuga, nobody even reached the whole cycle. Everybody maybe lives 70, 40, 50. Some children in the womb, they're already gone. So this depends on the imprint of their karma. Now, these cycles have sub-periods. So the sun, for example, the sun, the sun, moon, sun, Mars, sun, Rahu, sun. So these sub-periods have another sub-periods. And this is what is called the duality. Because some of the planets are favorable. The moon, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, very favorable. But then you have Mars, you have Saturn, you have Rahu, Ketu, and the sun with its neutral. So the combination of these different periods create different colors, and sometimes happiness, distress, etc. If you're passing through a period of Saturn is like the blues, like the dark sky. Depression is number one. One feels lonely, it's no comprehension, lack of motivation, and then one falls into depression. If you enter into Rahu, you're going to be cheated very easily. Oh, you're going to cheat someone. It's going to come all kinds of, you can say, unwanted things that you should not do for yourself, not to others, but suddenly we start doing this. So depending the period that you are going through in your chart, you're going to have this. You cannot go in life just, perfectly. So without holding into spiritual practice and to good association, you need good people to associate, to make questions, to find answers. Then it's very difficult to know what is going on in your life. Sometimes I get an astrological chart over, say, I'm fully depressed, I'm having so much problems, I'm thinking maybe to get a divorce. And even before they give me the date of birth, they say, you must be going through right now to a Saturn period. The period of Saturn just started. And I asked, did one of your parents pass away? Yes, my father just passed away with COVID, such and such. Then when you see the chart, you see they are going through a very rough period, which is easily to get mentally and psychologically alone. So when you're going through different transits, you're going to feel this duality. And it's good to know. If you know that it's going to rain, then you get an umbrella to get out. You get the proper clothing. If you know it's going to be minus 20, you're not going to go with a Panama hat and shorts. So that's the problem. If you go out in a Panama hat and shorts, you're going to find the weather to kill you. So it's important for people to have some teachers. It's important to people to have some guides. That's why in the Brahminical system, the Brahmana is like a guide of society. He studied the Vedas, he practiced, and then he can be an example for others and also can give answers on how to navigate, can give coordinates on how to navigate. So in society, there is Brahmana, Kshatras, Vaishyas, Sudras. Brahmanas, the intellectual class, were dedicated to religion, spirituality, Vedas. Kshatras are governors, kings, army, all the people who are protectors. Vaishyas, the ones who make the business, who promote things. Then the Sudras were expert workers, expert in creating things by labor, by hard work. 4 of them are very essential, just like the wheels of a train. They are to do the hardest work, but without the wheels, nothing else can work. Now the operator is the one that knows where this train goes. So it's important to have Brahmanas in your life, because Brahmanas can guide people. The kings and the ancient rulers of the past, they're always guided by Brahmins, because otherwise a person being the ruler, if he don't know what is the purpose, they will misguide these followers, because they will misguide them towards sense gratification. It's like nowadays, all the rulers, they just promise lower income tax, they promise enjoyment, more money, more enjoyment. And the people cannot be happy like this. That's why so much upheaval everywhere. But if the rulers, they help the people to focus in spirituality, then everybody gets out of these depressions, anxieties, because there's a whole community walking in one direction. So individually, as a family, as a community, it's important to be guided by Brahmins. Obviously, is also there the holy name of the Lord. If you just take this holy name, you're going to get out of any situation. Kaler dosa nide Rajan, my dear king, this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. Eko Mahaguna, but there is one good quality in Kali Yuga. Kirtana Deva Krishnasya, if you kill the kirtan of the names of the Lord, Mukta Sangha Parambrajet, you will be liberated from this ocean. You will enter into the boat of this holy name. So this chanting of the holy name of the kirtan is a wonderful place where you can just sit peacefully and listen to the kirtan, absorb the sound, and connect. So in Kali Yuga, just by this simple process of getting involved with kirtan, there is a great way to get out of this mode of darkness, what is called tamaguna, and just again awaken yourself to a greater health, a spiritual health. So nowadays, everywhere in every city in the world, sometimes there are kirtan groups. So I will advise this person to get in touch with kirtan or through YouTube to download some nice kirtan, put this sound in their earphones when they walk, when they work, or when they're at home. Put the kirtan in the house, will dispel all negativity, because the name of God is not different than God. When you pronounce the name of God, He is present there. So when you chant His name, immediately you get association with God. And like this, you can walk anywhere with His name, and you will feel the contact.
Yes, so definitely having a teacher, having a community, and also paying attention to knowing your own astrology is gives such support in life.
Support, yes.
And I can only recommend to anyone listening Prabhu as an exceptional astrologer for knowing and understanding one's own chart. And Prabhu, I just want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for your time, for your wisdom, for your inspiration, for practice above everything else. Thank you. I wish you to continue your work, your beneficial work for the benefit of all sentient beings, spreading the wisdom. Thank you so much for taking the time and having this conversation with me.
Nice to meet you all. My respects to all of you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Seeds of Awakening. If you have any questions to my guest, you can leave them in the comment section below, and we might incorporate them for the future interviews. And if you haven't already, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel so that I can keep welcoming other inspiring teachers and practitioners, so that you and I can keep deepening our understanding of what it means to live with intention and presence. Until next time, bye.